Hello, my name's Ben,
And my name is Josh.
and welcome back to FPL Graduates, and welcome back to what could be a big few weeks coming up on FPL.
Yeah, we're going to be live now pretty much up until the deadline. It's a massive double game week, the first of many to come. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, Brownell?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting indeed, and we've got a very interesting guest on today. He is currently top 2K in the world, and he is a top of our mini leagues, isn't he, Josh?
Yeah, so you could almost call him a graduate in himself. He went to uni with us, he lived with us, he's one of us. So welcome on, James, to the show. How you doing, mate?
You're right, lads. Thank you very much for having me today.
No worries. So yeah, he's the better graduate. He beat us last year. He's beaten us this year. How have you felt with this season? Is it going well? You made any tough decisions?
Yeah, it's been a bit on and off. I mean,
On and off.
couple,
2K.
yeah. Well, like 2 weeks ago, I had that terrible week where I got like 20 points, and then the last 2 weeks I've smashed it.
Yeah, it seems like just every week I go on and check his team, and he's got in that differential. He's just pulled 15 points every single week. It's crazy how you're doing it, and well, long may it continue for you. But for us, me and Josh are just struggling to keep up with him at the moment. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into what our teams are going to be looking like this week, because that's what you guys want to see. I'll go into my team first. What I'm going to do this week. I think mine and Josh's plans are pretty similar this week. So let's have a look. This is what my team is currently looking like. There we are. It's up on the screen now. Guaita in goal. Not sure how he's still cutting about in my team. I think it's just that double game week coming up that's just keeping him in. My goalkeeper decisions have been terrible this season. If I get a goalkeeper in, make sure you stay well clear of them. Brought in Dallo last week. Not done too much, hoping he can sort of start both games in that double. Regulon, how he didn't score in the last game week, we will never know. Cancelo, Trent, as per usual, as well as Jota and Bowen. Gone captain Fernandez. You've got to captain someone in a double game week, so it's Bruno this week. I've brought in Salah this week for Kevin De Bruyne. I think De Bruyne is going to get somewhat of a rest this week, and I believe Salah is going to score against this Burnley team. And then, Watkins and Dennis up front. There's kind of a coin toss between Dennis and King. I've gone for on the grass this week. But yeah, that's how the team's looking. Lads, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Gator in goal decision is definitely out there.
I just thought I was being smart with it, Like Palace were looking good defensively until I brought him in, and then they just conceded like goals against Norwich. It's not good. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you look good. You got the best captaincy option this week with Bruno. Maybe missing the Brighton double. I think Brighton's double is pretty decent. Watford and United. I think they've only conceded 6 big chances in their last 5 game weeks. So defensively, maybe that's where you should have gone with your keeper, Sanchez. But yeah, I think other than that, I think you're looking sweet.
Yeah.
How many players you got with double game week?
2 or
3.
Yeah, 2 for this week, and then next week, 8 or 9, I think. Yeah, it's not too bad. Sort of hoping to sort of keep up with everyone else really in the next couple of weeks. Brought in Salah early just to, get somewhat of an edge. Josh, should we go into your team?
Yeah, I'll whack mine up now. It's a very similar transfer plan to Brownell. If we get this up here, that's James's team. I'll come to mine now. So, yeah, Sanchez is in goal. I've got the rotation of him and Ramsdale. They switch over quite nicely with the doubles and the blanks. Ramsdale's doubling next week. Trent and Robbo, the Liverpool double up. I'm a bit disappointed, actually, against Leicester that Robbo didn't get any attacking returns. I thought he was really good going forward. So hopefully he can match that in this week and the next week come in. Cancelo, Norwich away. Hopefully he's under 100% effective ownership this week. He was like 108% last week, which wasn't ideal. Dallo against Southampton and Brighton. I have no hope for United clean sheet in either game, to be honest. So not sure why I brought him in. Salah with the vice captaincy. He was my transfer in this week for De Bruyne. I think he's a bit of FOMO / worried that De Bruyne is not going to play due to Champions League, obviously. So he's in. Salah's going to start, probably play 90 minutes. So he's probably the better option. I could have gone Bruno. I thought about it, but I think longer term it's probably more beneficial to go Salah for now, and then probably go to Harry Kane from Ronaldo next week. Joao Bowen, man on fire. It's a shame that everyone owns him, but he's really, really good this week. This season, to be fair. Elise's in there, obviously got an assist midweek and 2 bonus points off an assist, which is absolutely lovely after getting subbed at 70. Hoping that him and Edouard do play against Brentford. If they don't, it's not the worst case scenario. I've got players on the bench that can come on. And yeah, Edouard obviously didn't start in the week last week, so hopefully he does instead of Mateta this week. And then obviously the main fraud himself, Emmanuel Dennis, is up front alongside Ronaldo. Ronaldo on the captaincy. Surely he's got to break that goal drought at some stage.
Yeah, so it's a decent team. Loving the Elise pick, obviously. Got to mention that every single week. It's interesting that you've doubled up on the Palace sort of going forward, whether you think they'll be reliable enough to score that many goals. And as well, Edouard, we saw him, he didn't play last week, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, like it's a decent team. No Jota, which probably hurt you a lot last week. So it's just a risk you got to take, and probably hoping that Liverpool defensively get it right every single week with that double up.
Yeah, it hurt me a lot. I still got a green arrow last week, but like you said, I think it was like just a 17k rank drop just from Jota, obviously from what it could have been. I'm expecting him hopefully to get his minutes managed a little bit more. Now we've got Diaz, Salah, Mane, Firmino. There's 5 guys now that can play in those 3 positions. So I think going forward, we won't see him get dropped necessarily, but I think we'll see him get taken off at 60 or 70 minutes more. What's your thoughts on Jota, James? Are you a keen Jota owner still?
Yeah, so far still only got 2 Liverpool players in my team with Salah being out, and I didn't want to replace with like Robbo and then struggle to get Salah back in. So I mean, I'm still with my team. I'm still a bit undecided on what I'm doing this week. I've still got to make those
deadline stream transfers. We're loving it. We'll move on to your team. I've got it up here. So if you want to talk it through, AC ranks 2,094 points this last week. That midfield is the stuff of dreams.
It all played into my hands, luckily. But I think my team, the defence is still the same as both. On my bench, I've got Smith Rowe and Tomiyasu, both without a game this week. Then I think I've left Dennis on the bench as of yet, and I'm starting Antonio and Edouard up top. I only got the one player with the double game week, which is David De Gea. Very tempted to switch De Bruyne to Fernandes this week and then go Fernandes to Salah next week. But yeah, I'm just a bit undecided on what to do.
Oof.
I mean, yeah, we could easily see a De Bruyne haul this week. Like me and Josh, I think we made that transfer because we have doubts about his minutes. Obviously, you never know with Pep; like he's pretty random with it. So it is a big decision. I feel this sort of De Bruyne, Salah, Fernandes. If you get it right, you're gonna be up there. But it's just a case of sort of working out which one is going to get the minutes and which one's going to get the haul.
Yeah. Like you say, with Champions League next week, it's very difficult to know. Pep Roulette infamous for just not caring about the fantasy players.
Yeah, exactly. Right, well, what we'll do, we'll answer some questions, and then that might be able to make your mind up if you're trying to help other people. So we'll move into a classic username, Sue. Yes, lads, on your last stream, you convinced me to switch Foden to captain to Jota. And of course, it paid off. Bruno is the best captain option for this week. Yeah, I'll go first. I do think he is the best captaincy option, despite me not owning him this week. It's got to be a double game week player because I feel like United will get some goals. They've created loads of chances in the last 3 games. Southampton concede a lot of chances as well. 17 big chances conceded in the last 5 game weeks, whereas Brighton have conceded 6. So I think the game to target would be the Saints game. Hence why I'm hoping Ronaldo returns. Who's your thoughts on captaincy, Ben? I'm sure you've got it on Bruno.
Yeah, mine's on Bruno. It's been on Bruno the whole time. Really, haven't really had a second thought about it, which is always good. I mean, it's less stressful. Just put it on Bruno and off you go, and there's no hassle, no worries about it. Yeah, I think he's the best captaincy option. I'm thinking sort of any other options, Ronaldo, and then probably De Bruyne and Salah as the other captaincy options this week. Isn't too much of a spread of who I think is like a good captaincy option this week. Last week, big spread of players, but this week, I think, the premiums are the ones to sort of captain this week.
Defo, what's your thoughts, James, on captaincy? If you had to choose anyone, who would you be?
I mean, I think Bruno is definitely the best this week, especially with the double game week. I think the Brighton game is going to be very tough, as they've been playing some incredible football this season. But yeah, like you say, the Southampton game is the game that you're aiming to get a haul. Yeah, I think, like Ben said, I think Bruno is probably the best, and then you're looking at Ronaldo, De Bruyne, and Salah as like your backups if you don't have that Bruno in your side.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. I think eight results of Brighton's games this season have all finished 1-1. I think that's like the most of any team this season. So they love a 1-1. I can see it definitely being 1-1 as well against United. Shiv saying, what a way to start the weekend. Thanks for joining us, Shiv. We love it. He's also got a question. KDB, Salah and Bernardo to Bruno, King and a 4.4 striker. Would a -8 be worth it? I saw this on Twitter. My immediate reaction was no. What's your thoughts, Brownell?
Yeah, it's a no for me as well. I think the only move I'd consider in those sort of picks would be KDB to Bruno. That would be my initial thought, and the other transfers are just a little bit unnecessary. So yeah, I'd probably look to get in that one transfer, that one premium, and then go from there.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that one. We'll move on. There's a few questions, so we'll move quickly through them. Deck asks, King out, Ronaldo in. I have money in the bank. Do I go for it? What's your thoughts on Ronaldo, James? Do you think he'll come back scoring? Because obviously he's been a bit of a minutes issue.
He's got to get his goals at some point. He's infamous. I mean, even just the drought of like 5 games is just shocking for like his record. So, I mean, you've got to expect that he's going to come out wanting to get those goals. So, I mean, if you've got the funds to go King to Ronaldo, I would probably say do it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer.
As long as you still have the funds to be able to make, if you don't have that Salah, as long as you've got the funds to be able to get Salah back in,
yeah,
I think it's a no-brainer.
Definitely. We'll move on to the next question. Sal. How many players do you recommend having in game week 30? So game week 30 is going to be a blank game week due to, I think, the FA Cup fixtures. I think that one is. So the recommendation would be 11, wouldn't it, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it's always ideal to sort of have 11. I think you could probably get away with sort of 6 players for that game week. It's going to be difficult for people to get them in because it's from teams that, not many people own assets from. So I think 6 or 7 you could get away with, but it might be a good time to free hit.
Yeah, definitely. I think I have 1 free hit left and I'll be saving it for 30. Game week 27 is also a blank game week with Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal blanking. So as long as you can navigate that without having to use a free hit, or if you have 2 free hits, you should be sweet. Should I lock in KDB to Bruno? Obviously, me and Ben have done KDB to Salah. Are you going to be doing KDB to Bruno, Ronan?
This is my decision that I need to figure out this week. I need to know whether I'm going KDB to Bruno or KDB to Salah. So I know it's a toss up. Like Salah, I mean, this season has just been on fire. But whether or not this double game week for United is going to pay off, it's just a tough one.
Yeah, I seen a little stat this morning. Salah versus Burnley at Liverpool, 8 games, 2 goals, 1 assist. A little bogey team for the Mobot, and I know he blanked against them this season as well. I remember that was like game week 2. So maybe Salah's not all up crack to be as I've brought him in this week. Who knows? Opinions on Jacob Ramsey to Alanga. What's your thoughts, Ben? I think this is kind of like unnecessary because I do think Alanga will play some minutes, but I don't know if it would be worth it in the long term over Ramsey, who's been in flames so far this season.
Yeah, Ramsey's in good form and nailed in that Aston Villa team. As well as that, Villa have got some pretty decent fixtures coming up. So I wouldn't try and force the double game week players in this week because obviously I think for that sort of situation, you'd want to save the transfer and really attack double game week 26. So I'd probably save that transfer. It's not necessary to have sort of loads and loads of double game week players this week, but it is necessary to have them next week.
Yeah, I definitely think I agree with that. Ronnie's asking, is this his good team? He's got De Gea, Diaz, Cancelo, Reguilon, Gallagher, Coutinho, De Bruyne, captain, Jota, Bowen, Dennis, and Maupay. So he's only got one United doubler with De Gea. He's captaining De Bruyne this week. What's your thoughts, James, on that little team?
Do you know what? I had Reguilon and Gallagher earlier in the season, and the moment I put them in, they just stopped. They just stopped getting any points whatsoever for me. But Gallagher, for his first proper season in Prem, he's absolutely smashing it. It's just whether or not, like you said earlier, with the Palace players, whether or not they're going to score those goals. They've got so many different avenues which they can attack from now with Eze, Elise, Edouard, Gallagher. It's just a toss-up of which player is going to grab those goals and assists.
Yeah. One thing as well about Gallagher is that he won't play a double next game week because he can't face his parent club. So Gallagher will only be playing 1 game next week. So I'd probably suggest Elise over him, not this week, but what's your thoughts on that De Bruyne captaincy, Ben? Would you captain De Bruyne this week?
In terms of this team, I'd be tempted to captain him, yes. But I'd also be concerned about the minute. So I'd almost be leaning towards De Gea. I know it sounds ridiculous, but De Gea would get good save points. The potential for a clean sheet is quite high of getting at least 1. So I'd say in that team, it's probably a safe captaincy pick. But yeah, like De Bruyne, like I said, he's always got that option to come off the bench 30 minutes against Norwich and just put 3 in. It's just what KDB does. So I'd probably I'd say yes to KDB, but have De Gea in your sort of thoughts.
Fair enough. He said he meant Watkins for Maupay as well, so he only has the 1 double game week player. Let's have a look here. Start Gallagher or Antonio. So Palace have Brentford. I'm not sure who West Ham have. Is it Leicester they face? Let me double check. Great. My team's not on the right screen. Yeah, it is Leicester. There we go. So a Gallagher against Brentford or an Antonio against Leicester. Leicester have conceded the most big chances out of anyone in the Premier League in the last 5 game weeks. Who are you starting at Brownell?
Well, that sort of just shows you who you need to start. Yes, Antonio's been in bad form, but it's coming up against a Leicester team with a makeshift defence. So I'd probably go Antonio in this one.
Yeah, you're starting Antonio too, Ronan, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm starting Antonio.
Yeah, I think that's a full house. Although Brentford's second worst team in terms of big chances conceded, 18. So I think both are good picks. I'd try and play both. I'm sure you've probably got someone who could probably come out for one of them. Bring in Bruno for KDB, then Coutinho in for Rafinha. What's your thoughts on Coutinho? I think it's an interesting one because for me personally, I didn't think he'd play enough minutes to start things off under Gerrard because obviously he hadn't played in over a year or whatever. Would you be tempted? Obviously, he's no double coming up then. What's your thoughts on that, Philippe?
It's probably the reason why I haven't thought about bringing him in yet is because of the double game weeks. I'm wanting to sort of maximise that as much as possible. So if it was like the point in the season where there wasn't loads of doubles, then he'd probably already be in my team. Because a player in fantastic form such as that, you just got to get him in as quickly as possible before his expected ownership goes up. So I think owners who have got him are like, they're having a great time with him because his ownership isn't going up too high. But yeah, I think great option. But for me, I'm like, double game week players just stand out to me because they got obviously double the games.
Yeah. Ronan, you own Coutinho for his 16-pointer. Lovely little stuff that is. What's your thoughts? Why did you bring him in?
Well, I
just
mean,
out of curiosity.
The moment he transferred back, to Villa, I was like, and see, he come on and got, what was it, an assist?
It was like a Fred assist for that first one.
And then, I don't know, for like he was like 7 point something million. And I was like, for the price, for the player you get, especially proven in the Premier League, I was like, I'm just going to get him in. I can't even remember who I replaced him for.
It's just played too well. Forgot
it might have even been Gallagher that I replaced him for.
There we go. It's Conor Gallagher out, Coutinho in. Bruno in for KDB. I think if I owned KDB, I think I would make that transfer this week. I think it's probably worth it long run as well. Even if De Bruyne gets a goal this week, like, you're not going to want to keep De Bruyne any further than this Norwich game. He doesn't double in any of the game weeks coming up, so hence why I probably stay cleared of City assets bar Cancelo at the minute. So Shiv asks, as a Liverpool fan, Salah looks too good not to own. Obviously, he had that 30-minute cameo against Leicester. Looks really good. Hit the bar. Should have probably scored, to be honest. What's your thoughts, Ben, on the old Mobot?
Get him in as soon as possible, really, is my thoughts. We all know what he's like this season on FPL. So why are people thinking, I'm not going to bring him in this week? I'd just get him in as soon as possible. As soon as your team allows it, you've got to have him because he's just one of those assets this season that is essential to have.
This is an interesting one from Michael. He's asking, keep De Bruyne for this week and then swap for Son next week. Obviously, Son faces City and someone else in a double. They definitely have a double game week. What's your thoughts? Because, to be honest, Spurs assets for me, they're a wait until next game week. I think who they face this week? Watford. Is it Watford or someone like that? You've got regular on. You should know. I can have a quick look. Let's scroll down.
Wolves at home.
Wolves at home. So Wolves don't tend to concede a lot of goals. I don't know. I personally would just stay clear of Spurs until maybe the double. I don't know what you guys think.
I mean, at the minute, I'm just avoiding Spurs assets completely. Like, they're so hit and miss. You just never know, like, what kind of Spurs team you're going to get.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think I've had Son or Kane since the very start of the season because I just don't trust them to get me the points that they have done in like previous seasons.
Yeah, definitely. This is an interesting one from George. Tierney and Martinelli out for Digne and Ramsey -4. He's saying for the long term. It's interesting that he says that because Arsenal do double in 26. Obviously, Martinelli only can play one game because of that red card he got against Wolves. What would you say, Ben? Because Aston Villa assets don't double in 26.
I'd probably wait on these transfers. Maybe transfer out Martinelli in case he goes down in price. But Tierney for that double, I think that Arsenal double is one of the best around for 26. So it'd be worth having a player in. I'm not going to have a player in because obviously their blank sort of affects my plan to bring them in. So yeah, I'd probably keep the Arsenal, well, at least Tierney for that double game week.
Yeah, definitely. Shiv asked, do we need Man United cover this week? If not, I'll probably get Salah in, then go Bernardo to Son next week. What's your thought? Do you think United players are a must? They've been underwhelming the last few weeks.
You've got to have one, haven't you? Like, it's a double game week, and they got 2 home fixtures, and it's Man United. Traditionally in FPL, you'd be all over that, but they have shown signs of improvement. So I believe like having at least one Man United player is probably worthwhile.
Yeah,
you saying that?
I completely agree. I think I've made my decision. I'm probably going to go to Bruno this week and then back to Salah next week.
Oof, big move from Ronan. Yeah, I think you've got to get a United player in. Bruno's EO will be over 100%. I'm almost certain of it. I'm not sure about Ronaldo, but yeah, it's going to be another week of hiding behind the sofa for me with that 100% EO. Foster to Sanchez for a hit. I already have Cucurella. I'm going to straight out say no. I don't think you should take a hit for your keeper. There's an easy chance that Sanchez could come out of those 2 games with 4 points, and then it's just a net 0. So I'd say no for that. Thoughts on this, lads? Dex asking De Gea, Trent, Emerson, Laporte, De Bruyne, Coutinho, Jota Bowen, Elliott, Antonio, Ronaldo, King, Cody, Aït-Nouri on the bench. What's your thoughts, Ben? Give him a little rate out of 10.
Oh, it's interesting that he's got. Is that Harvey Elliott in there?
It is.
Interesting. I'm probably going to say a 7 out of 10 because he's missing Bruno Fernandes and he's missing Salah. So the two kings of FPL.
Fair play. Here's one for you, James. De Gea or Ramsdale?
Who do United play next week? Because I know obviously you got the Ramsdale's obviously not playing this week, but then he's got double.
I think it was
Leeds away.
Yeah,
and
Leeds away.
At home.
That's it.
So the problem I'm having with my Arsenal players is I've got Tomiyasu and Smith Rowe on my bench. Obviously they blank this week, then they double next week, and then they blank the week after, and that's just the main issue with Arsenal assets at the minute. Like, whereas when Man United next blank? Is it like 2 weeks?
Or Gameweek 30, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'd stick with De Gea at the minute.
Yeah, I think if you have a rotation where you can play, for example, Sanchez and Ramsdale, they have great alternating fixtures. So when Arsenal blank, Brighton play, and when Brighton blank, Arsenal play. Other than that, I think De Gea is probably the shout because he's always going to play. And he gets loads of save points. I think Southampton I think they're top of the league in the last 5 game weeks for shots. Probably just from that Spurs game alone, to be fair. So there's going to be some save points on offer for De Gea this week. Shiv's asking, who am I captain in this week? I'll bring my team up here. Ooh, not my emails. Here we go. So yeah, Ronaldo's my captain. I just hope he can do the business, man. He's let me down time and time again when I've owned in this season. So hopefully this isn't one of those times. Probably is going to be. I wish I had Bruno, but so be it. Ronaldo's in. I think Ronaldo to Kane. That's the reason I have Ronaldo over Bruno on my wildcard draft. Obviously, it would take more transfers to get to Kane. I think Kane's a way better asset than Son longer term under Conte right now. Dex saying loving the UCFB hoodie. Ben still repping. Love to see it. Michael's asking the secondary question to his first. So, who do you? Do you instead recommend taking out KDB this week for Bruno instead of the whole Son situation? I'm going to start it off with a big fat yes. What's your answer, Ben?
Yeah, I think that's the optimum move this week. Obviously, it's your decision. Like, if you think Bruno's going to blank, then don't bring him in. But for me, I've got to have Bruno this week.
You agreeing with that, James?
Yeah, I'm completely agreeing with that. I think that's. I mean,
he's on Team Bruno now.
For all we know, De Bruyne will start against Norwich and get a massive haul. But like I say, with Champions League next week, playing Norwich is not the toughest game they'll face this season. So I can see De Bruyne being rested, and Bruno. We all know Bruno is going to play. So yeah, I would say that is probably your best bet.
Definitely. I think even if De Bruyne does haul, he's probably got the lowest effective ownership out of everyone in this that we're talking about. So it shouldn't hurt you as much. Edouard versus Malpay thoughts. Interesting one. I sort of steered clear of Malpay just because it's Malpai. Like he just seems to just not in double game. I think the last double game week I had Trossard, and both of Malpai and Trossard got rotated for the second fixture. What's your thoughts on Neil Malpai? Would you say he's a good option, Ben?
Oh, it's just because it's Neil Malpai. Like, I don't trust that he's going to get loads of returns. I think bringing Morpay in is just shoehorning double game week 25 players when I think you should be looking ahead to double game week 26 instead. This game week, it's not going to be as big in terms of your overall rank compared to next week. I think next week is so crucial to get right.
Yeah, definitely. I think having 9 to 11 doubles next week, I think that's going to be the pro strategy going forward. Deck said, cheers, lads. Going to get Salah in next week. And yeah, that's Harvey Elliott. Looks dangerous so far. I think it's interesting. He's quite cheap on FPL. So maybe a good option to look forward to in game week 26. But I think that'll wrap up our deadline stream today. Deadline's at 11 a.m.
Yeah, so it gives you sort of half an hour to make sure you finalise the teams and finalise your plans. It's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it, as I'm sure everyone else is. James, thank you for coming on the show today. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you very much for having me, lads. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a good one. It's like a UCFB reunion in here.
It is indeed.
So yeah, thanks a lot for coming on. James, top 2K, probably going to finish above us, so you should be taking tips from this one and not us going forward.
Yeah, and as usual, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Go follow us on all of our socials. And yeah, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
I've been James.
He loves it.
See you guys.